Hey again everyone, I'm back with an updated Krita and AI Diffusion Plugin video. I wanted to share a little of my experience getting it up and running and a couple issues you might run into with some of the more recent versions. I'm looking at version 1.47 today, with a focus on the newly supported Flux-2 Klein and Z-Image Turbo models. Unfortunately, on my system, this version appears to break previous support for Flux-1 models, including Flux Context. The author of the Diffusion plugin is aware of the issue. There's a problem with the Comfy UI support add-on, the Nunchaku model loader. The fix isn't easy to implement and requires a custom Comfy UI installation. In the meantime, support for an older format of the Flux-1 models still works, but they're not automatically downloaded by the plugin installer. I'll go over downloading those, where to put them, and how to set them up after the installation. To get started, download the newest stable version of Krita for free from the website, or support Krita's development by using the paid version available through the Windows App Store. Install it, then download the Diffusion plugin. For those without a dedicated GPU, the plugin can be used with Interstice.Cloud's paid online service, which supports the plugin development. After downloading the plugin, load Krita and navigate to the Tools menu. Then click Install Python plugin from File and navigate to the plugin zip file. Confirm the installation and then restart Krita. After the restart, create a new document. Click the Settings menu and find the Dockers option. Then select the Diffusion plugin. You may need to wait a few minutes if it's the first time starting up the plugin. Once it starts up, you may need to restart Krita one more time. If you see a Configure button on the lower right side of the screen, click it to open the plugin configuration. Then select Connection from the menu and choose the server type you are going to use, either cloud service or a local Comfy UI server. Select your models and workflows from the list. I'll be installing Flux-2, Z-Image, and Flux-1. In the past, you could reliably select individual components to install, but it seems like doing so now may result in missing modules. So I recommend first installing the workflows and models from the main tab, rather than the individual components tab. Reinstalling the Z-Image workflow from the first tab fixes the missing module errors, at least on my end. As I mentioned, this version seems to break Flux model support, but there is a workaround if you want to download a different set of Flux models. Download the checkpoints that I've linked in the description manually, and put them in your Diffusion Models directory found in the users, your username, app data, roaming, Krita, AI Diffusion, server, models, and finally Diffusion Models directory. Then, you will need to open settings by clicking the cog icon, and copy the default style for each of the Flux models, and swap each to the correct downloaded Flux Krita and Flux Context checkpoints. If you don't see them appear, click the refresh button. While editing the Flux style, you'll also need to change the editing style to the copy of the Flux Context style. Finally, you'll also need to edit the copy of the Flux Context style to point to the FP8 Flux Context model. I've done all of that here, so I'll just take this masterpiece composition and make sure that context is working again by giving our kitty a little more flair. Now that the models are downloaded and set up, let's take a look at what we can do with them by making that nonsensical composition using Z-Image Turbo, Flux-2 Klein, and Flux Context. Z-Image Turbo is highly tuned for consistency, realism, and is supposed to be great with text handling. It generates images relatively quickly compared to Flux, but the price of consistency is a lack of variety. Across image generations, you'll probably notice very similar faces or body styles. I find the text handling less than stellar more often than not. It tends to trail off and make a lot of errors at the end of sentences. Plugin often becomes plugrin, and cartoon styles tend to have a distinctive look. Very long, verbose, highly descriptive prompts seem to perform best. But I recommend taking a skim through the Z-Image paper that I've linked in the description so you can see how the authors recommend prompting the model. For those with the ability, you may also have better or similar results prompting the model in Chinese. Unfortunately, I have no way to reliably test that myself. You can always use different models for different parts of your workflow. Switching between them just requires switching the generation style sheet from the drop-down list. Just remember to double check that you're using the edited copy of the style sheet if you created one during the setup from earlier in the video. I'm just going to quickly go through and generate a basic composition with some random elements to show how you can use the generation and editing models together to get something done. By default, the whole canvas will be used for generation, so I got an odd-looking widescreen CRT for my prompt, but if you mask an area of the canvas, the mask area will be used. I'll go ahead and mask a square and do a couple different generations here with Z-image. The more specific you get with a prompt, the more consistent it will be between generations. Using the seamless option will feather the mask area when generating. If you're just masking the white canvas, this doesn't usually make too much difference. I've generated a few images and I'm just going to select the one I like the most and hit apply. I want something a little more natural looking than a pure white background, so I'll switch to the Flux-2 Klein model and use an editing instruction for the prompt. Replace the white background with a naturally textured beige wall. That looks pretty good to me. So I'll hit apply and make that newly generated image the uppermost layer. I'm going to take a couple example prompts from a prompt guide I found online. Many of these don't perform very well, or aren't great examples of the model's capabilities, but I'm feeling uncreative right now. With the background replace layer applied, you can see it at the top there as the active one. I want the edge of the generated poster filling this area, so I'll mask an area, but as you can see it's off the canvas. If I switch into the Generate Custom mode, that seems to take into account the empty space, so I get the lower portion of the poster rather than the top half. I think that's good enough for now, so I'll go ahead and apply that image to keep it. If we click the preview of the applied image, it switches the active layer to the correct one, or click the correct composition layer in the layers list, and to make sure it's active. I'm going to select another area to create some text on this screen, but I want it to look natural and blend in. When I mask this area, the mode is switched to Generate Custom, but I want to swap this back to the Edit mode. The Edit mode will use the background image as the input image, isolated to the masked area, hopefully letting us generate some text that blends naturally into the background texture on the fake CRT. For the prompt here, I put pixelated ASCII text in a retro CRT MS-DOS style, displaying Nano Nomad in green. Not exactly natural language, but close enough. Sort of keyword stuffing the prompt to get the idea across. Across the generations, the results are consistent, but there's enough variety that you can choose the best fit image after running a batch and looking at the results. I can swap out the color and still get something decent looking. I like the look of that amber text. Kinda looks like old school ANSI artwork. I'm going to apply this amber colored text to keep it. The desktop is looking a little bare, so let's add some happy little trees. With the Flux-2 Klein template selected, and using the edit mode, I'm going to mask an area on the left of the CRT and use the prompt branches of a small bonsai tree behind the monitor. Not too bad, but that's not the happiest little tree I've seen. Looks a little bare, perhaps I shouldn't have said branches. Oh well. With the same area masked and the same Flux-2 Klein template selected, I'll just change the prompt to put more small green leaves on the bare branches of the bonsai tree. A subtle change, but I think that looks more natural. Still a little sickly like Charlie Brown's Christmas bonsai tree, but that's alright. Let's try and liven things up with a little action. I'm going to mask a very small area over here on the tree, and change the prompt to Spider-Man is swinging from a tree branch. Since the masked area is so small, the Diffusion plugin will generate a batch of candidate images by default, and you can pick the best fit for your scene. I want to generate some new content in front of the monitor, a cat making a silly face. With the editing mode, that was possible before, but you might find there are times when the editing mode doesn't quite interpret the instructions in the way you'd like, especially if it's creating new content not in the original image. There are the Add Content and Remove Content modes for creating or erasing elements via inpainting and outpainting respectively, but both of those modes seem to work best without prompts for things like generating texture fills. When I need specific instruction-based edits, I still usually prefer Flux Context, but Flux Klein is starting to grow on me because you don't need to switch models between generation and edit, and Klein is lighter weight and faster to generate than Flux 1. I'm going to go ahead and use Generate to put the cat in front of the monitor, but you'll notice that doesn't respect much of the original background image. I'll keep this contained to the selection area by switching the mask type to, you guessed it, selection area. This color blurring or halo effect is largely resolved in version 1.48 with the new color match feature. I'm going to stick with the same model, Flux-2 Klein, and let's see how it does editing the composition with the prompt wearing a top hat and monocle. Didn't quite get the monocle correct, but I'll take it. This is a distilled model, so things atop, noses, covering eyes are generally going to appear as glasses unless there's some strong emphasis in the prompt. Flux-2 Klein overcomes a bit of a problem that Flux Context has. Flux Context would usually perform poorly on images that have previously been processed by context, so you'd often only get 1 or 2 shots at editing. With Flux-2 Klein, you can keep editing without too much degradation in quality, or without the model just refusing to do anything to the image. I showed this earlier, but context is still very useful for its ability to make realistic-looking changes that closely follow instructions. It's taken me too long to get this video together, and version 1.48 has already been released. I didn't cover the fill and expand modes for Flux-2 in the video, because they weren't really working that well for me until now. If you adjust your canvas, you can use the expand mode to outpaint new images, and the fill mode will inpaint masked areas to generate new realistic fills. For edit models like Flux Context and Flux-2 Klein, you might get better results leaving the prompt empty. The new color match feature keeps the edges of the generated image from looking washed out like it did with our original kitty. Masking an area and using fill with the prompt generates new content and blends it well, but if you have details you need preserved, for example the text on the screen here, you will probably need to mask around it, or try the add content mode. I couldn't get the add content mode to work well until version 1.48, but now it seems to generally be able to add content in a natural looking way that follows the prompt and blends it into the rest of the image seamlessly. No more color shifting and haze around generated bits. Alright, that's about all I wanted to go over today. A quick overview of the state of the Krita AI Diffusion plugin, and some of the biggest changes that make it a really useful tool to have running on your own machine. I recommend checking the GitHub discussion board and reading the releases page, because the newest changes and features may not be fully documented yet. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.